Hello, I am Klaus and Nathan, and welcome to the first of my new Let's Play of Elden Ring. And, whoa, game volume needs to go down a bit. There. So now you guys can actually hear me. My apologies for that. Anyway, welcome to the first video on my channel, and to Elden Ring. As you can see, I am planning a very specific playthrough. This is one of my first mods, Ronnie's Magical UI. I love it. Ronnie is probably my favorite character in this whole game. And that's for good reason. I'll actually be playing with a number of mods, which I will showcase very soon. Now, Elden Ring is a game that I would say is fairly difficult, but only as difficult as you make it. There are methods to go about making this game either easier or harder on yourself, depending on how you play. I, for one, am going to be prioritizing methods that make it easier on myself. There are only any restrictions on anything on which I will do in this game, and this is because I'm playing for fun at the end of the day. So there's no need for me to make this harder on myself or harder on anyone else than need be. There's no wrong way to play any video game, only your way. Anyway, let us start a new game. And for this playthrough, I have something special in mind. But first I'm going to showcase the very starting classes. If anyone's played Elden Ring before, forgive me, but this is for anyone who's new to it. You have the Vagabond, which is, your classic knight, sword and board, with a nice halberd, fairly good. You have your warrior, dual wielder, and a pretty good all-around guy. He's fairly solid. You have the hero, which is your strong barbarian archetype, fairly strong. You can build him pretty well, from what I've seen. You got your bandit, who's your arcane specialist. They master bleed builds, and also a fairly good utility warrior, as you can see. Starts with a bow and knives. You have the astrologer, your mage, one of the two mages, fairly good. Not too much, not necessarily my points, low starting levels. You have the prophet, your generalist, fairly good faith, unless you want to, there's many methods you can go about doing it. Also, if you notice anything that's different in these items, that is due to the fact of I'm using a mod, which is called, I think it's Dog's Overhaul. It's a new special overhaul that just came out in Nexus a few weeks ago, and it has some major changes to armor, spells, and a whole lot of other things. It's fairly good. Then you have the Samurai. I don't think I need to really explain what a samurai is. If anyone knows the feudal warriors, the knights of medieval Japan, and or in this case, from the land of Reeds. Fairly good, decent class. Then you have the prisoner, a fairly good class for the spell sword build. Extremely powerful. You can generally build them pretty well. Major Slack, who is my mentor, who's also a fairly good YouTuber, would totally recommend subscribing to his channel, Major Slack Gaming. He has done a fair few playthroughs as the prisoner, and that has been very helpful in learning. And then, of course, we have the Confessor, which is, your standard paladin type if you want to build a fairly good faith character that's also exceptionally good in combat. Pretty solid, can't really go wrong with it. And then, of course, you have the Wretch, which is your blank slate class. You don't start with anything but a club, but you have start level 1 with balanced stats across the board. You can build the Wretch any way you want. For this playthrough, I will be going with the Vagabond. I will be playing a male, and I will be going with a name, and that is Godric the Gallant, which is not going to fit. Godric Godwinson is actually going to be his name. And as you can see, take points of keepsake. For keepsakes, I'm going to go with the Stone Sword Key. The reason being, this will allow me access to the French Folk Hero's Crypt, which is an exceptionally good dungeon. It's a fairly difficult thing, but I will get some items that'll make it a bit easier. And it has some fairly good items, including an underrated Spirit Ash by the name of Bonish Knight Oleg, but it also will give me access to a few other items that will be pretty important later on. In terms of build, I'm not going with any strict build template in mind. This is going to be one of those cases where I generally play a class however I feel like it. And so, to allow myself 3 inputs. I don't believe in over-specialization. I'm a generalist. Believe to being good at multiple things is a good thing. Now, let me focus on the detailed appearance, and so alter things a bit. I'm going to, give you a nice, let's go with the first hair. I like the face features as is. I'm going to go with some relatively short, reasonable hair, and give you make you a bit of a golden tint, and to reflect that this guy is a descendant, a scion of the Golden Lineage. He is a direct descendant of Godwin the Golden, who I'll explain, a fairly important figure in Elden Ring's lore. Some nice eyebrows. Of course, we're going to give you a fairly good epic beard. There. Oh yes, that is a beard. I'm fairly partial to beards. Have a very nice one myself. And I'm gonna go with these nice little eyes. Fairly good. And this is our face. And as for a face template, go with a bit more of a younger side. There we go. And now I'm going to also add a bit in to give him a little bit of a scar. Actually, I'm going to give him a bit of a mark here. Do we happen to have a lion or anything? No, that's like the symbol of only in Lineage. Well, okay. Well, let's try an eye patch. There we go. There we looks nice and impressive. The warrior of a grizzled battles. And let's give him a bit of a scar here. This guy's a grizzled veteran of a number of fights. And let me just see here. There we go. Looks perfectly good. Now I'm going to save you to the favorites. I have some templates, as you may know already. And I do believe we are ready to start. Now, let's roll the intro. Mind my thing here. I love quoting some of these lines towards the end.
The fallen leaves tell a story.
One of the best intros of video games of all time.
The great Elden Ring was shattered. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwin the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards
More
of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose.
Millennia.
A war
Scourge
leading to abandonment by the greater will. Oh, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of long-lost grace speaks to us all. Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands, the ever-brilliant Gold Mask. Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Othmere, the all-knowing.
You know, Sir Gideon, you know nothing.
And one other, whom grace would again bless. A tarnished of no renown. Cross the fog to the lands between, to stand before the Elden Ring.
To stand before the Elden Ring.
And become the Elden Lord.
Man, I love that intro. I will never skip that, by the way. I will have it every day. So, here we are. Welcome to the game. Elden Ring, such as it is. Now, as you can see, I'm going to showcase some of the serious differences here. First off, you have this fairly good armor, but you may notice something that usually we would be in heavy load, but as it stands, let me notice something here. There's a bit of a mechanic with this armor. Technically, we still are in heavy load, but I can fix that fairly easily. Now, the armor, as you can see, gives some serious bonuses now. Helm of a Knight banished from their brotherhoods. Dirty and battered after enduring a lengthy vagabond journey. The visor's broken will no longer be loaded. Army's net, but also has a stirring damage negation. +3 to our maximum stamina, and -5 to weapon skill at Beacons. Now, ordinarily, this would not be here in base game, but this is a feature of Dog's Overhaul. Now, some other pieces here. Similar advantages here for the Vagabond Knight armor. Again, look at this here. And also, you can notice the crest and the blazon in front is more digi, no longer able to evoke any sentiment, as you see, but this is pretty good. Again, weapon skill cost is very low. And here we are, Damage Knight, Vagabond Knight Gauntlets. Again, same bonuses across the board. This is a fairly good, well-rounded set. Now, as you may notice, we're in heavy load, meaning that we will be having a fat roll if I try to do this. Now, the best way to resolve this is to take off something that you aren't going to immediately use. And in this case, I'm going to remove the longsword, which again still has this heavy load. I'm going to then remove our shield then. It's still heavy load. Doesn't matter what I unequipped. Apparently heavy load is heavy load, regardless. Oh, only one thing for it. Oh, also, I am running with 2 other mods, Elden Trainer, for one specific reason, and that is for Rune Game, because, you know, grinding runes is such a tedium. I prefer to have things points. So I'm just going to set the multiplier. This is the only feature I use this for really nowadays. I have tested out the other features, but I found they're a little bit too unbalanced. But this one is fine, as far as I'm concerned. Now, this is our... You may notice this is what you call finger maiden. Tarnishes usually have these, but we unfortunately are maidenless, because somebody killed our finger maiden. Because this was supposed to be our maiden, but she was unfortunately killed by something. Potentially white mass barring. Anyway, let's go open the door, and man, that's loud. Okay, I need to adjust the volume a bit more. Because man, okay, that's a little bit way too loud. There. Much better. Now, as you can see, I have a halberd, which means you can generally dual wield or single-handing weapons. Now, single hand attacks like this, but if I press this button, which is Y on my Xbox controller, but usually this is just a button that you would use for accessing various things, you will take care of this. Also, this is getting removed. Never uses the memory grace, it's just not worth it. Okay, now you can see nice interesting places. All these banners. Look, the banner of this is the banner of the Golden Lineage. Our character is a direct descendant of this Golden Lineage from Godwyn the Golden and its other members. Over there, you can see Stormvale Castle. Now that's a very interesting place. It's going to be probably the first legacy dungeon that we're going to go through and clear, but it is not going to be an easy thing, so we're not really at the readiness for that, and it's not going to be easy. Now, see this bridge? Very good bridge. And now, we'll just march forward, and up ahead is going to be well, how shall I put this? The enemy that you're supposed to die to. Now, technically the game considers him a boss, but I really don't consider him a boss because, well, you'll fight these guys as standard enemies later on in the game. He's not really that important. That said, he is liable to kick my butt. But that said, usually some people will run off the side once he spawns. I tend not to do it. I want to at least give this guy give him my all. But I do have the advantage of reach. Hello! And that's not good to start things out. As you can see, this is a guy that you really aren't supposed to beat. Exactly. This is why. Don't worry, this is supposed to happen. You're supposed to die. That said, there are players who are skilled enough to actually beat him in a fair fight, depending on your skill level. I am not that skilled, as much as I would like to be, and I strive to be. But, as you can see, we're still alive. We're not dead yet. Godric's still alive. What's this?
Don't worry, Torrent. Fortune is on his side. We found him here, after all. One of his kind is sure to seek the Elden Ring. even if it does violate the Golden Order.
And we are alive. We're also through the initial parts of the game. Through the intro sequence. Now, as you can see, we're pretty well off in terms of gear. That grafted scion, don't worry, we'll be coming back to kick his butt later on in the game. I will definitely be doing so because he has... If you beat him, you get about a good sized amount of runes, and you get his sword and his shield, which are pretty good items early on. And honestly, probably still good pretty much throughout the game. They're actually going to be something I'm going to be collecting for this character, because as a Scion of the Gold, they are tied to the Golden Lineage, and so therefore anything related to it is going to be something we're going to collect. Now, here we have the two options. Now, we can go here to the Cave of Knowledge, which will teach us more about the games and stuff. And then we have here the way out of here to the Lost Graveyard, to the Stranded Graveyard. Now, where we are currently is in the Stranded Graveyard. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to grab the Site of Grace here. Site of Graces are basically like the bonfires of this game. You would use them in pretty much every Souls game. Also, as you can see here, I am going to unlock this. You need 2 stone sword keys to open this. We get 2 to start it. There. Now, I'm not going to go in there quite yet. I'm just unlocking this for future purposes. Also, this first video is going to be about an hour long. This is going to be a standard fare for all my series. The first video will always be about an hour long. Now, I will generally have a offer, like a 1 hour special every 10th episode, but only if you guys can make like thresholds, okay? It's something I'm willing to do, but it's generally in points. Now that I've collected that Site of Grace, we are going into the Cave of Knowledge. Let's talk to this guy first, the spirit first. Brave Tarnished, take the plunge. Of learning and remembrance. Call the arts of war in your warrior's blood. Never mind my Sean Connery impression. So anyway, now we go. Gonna climb down here, and then we're gonna go here. We'll just generally ignore modifications here. As you can see here, Site of Grace. Again, these are pretty common throughout the game. Fairly important too. If you die, you'll respawn at these things. They're also a good place to restore things. But they will restore your flasks, your health, and a whole bunch of other things. But if you do so, enemies are going to respawn. So if you kill any enemies and then rest inside of Grace, things are going to go points. Now, I'm going to sneak ahead, take things a bit stealthily. Now, this guy is not really paying attention. He is basically your first enemy. As you can see, the game is... Oh, that reminds me. I need to turn off auto-target. Okay, okay, that's off. Good. And... as you can see, nice backstab. And a bit more runes than normal. And... now... as you can see, this halberd has a nice reach. I love halberds, one of my favorite types of weapons in the Middle Ages. Look at this armor. You have nice plate cuirass, over a fairly good gambeson, some plate greaves, got gauntlets. One of our gauntlets is missing on this thing, which is fairly interesting. Some nice pauldrons, and a nice bassinet, if only the visor would close, for a bit more protection, though. It's kind of rusted shut. Not the best armor, but it's serviceable for our purposes. I actually know where to get some better armor, but right now there's some other items that we're going to need to get before I even think about getting that armor. And we're also probably going to need a bit more endurance beforehand, because they're not going to be easy points. Now, what I'm going to do now is run, because there's a guy up here with a crossbow, and I don't have a ranged weapon. Deal with him. Now, there's this guy, and he has a spear. As you can see, there's a little bit of negation. Power strike. And breaks through the guard. See, not necessarily the most difficult. Now, I'm going to switch over to the sword for the next part. Put up my shield. This shield actually starts with some 100% physical negation, so if you do block, you're not going to take damage, provided, you know, it's strike points. There are various different types of damages in this game, and shields offer some protection against certain things, as does your gear. Generally, though, it's advisable not to get hit. Now, I would say dodging is a bit of an overrated mechanic. You can generally use it, but you can also just move around, basically, to block things. And a lot of stuff that you can dodge, you can just jump over. So, a bit of an interesting tip I learned from a reliable source. Only waifu who has gave me some tips here. There! Take that! Next guy, come over so I can demonstrate the guard counter. Now, normally that would, if he wasn't so weak. This guy's... Man, it's too bad this guy doesn't drop the brass shield. These guys in this tutorial don't drop anything. Later on, though, points. I may kill a few Godric soldiers later on just for that, to try and get the brass shield. It's a good item. It's extremely good as a shield. Guard counter, down he goes. Now this guy is supposed to be the guy that you're supposed to tutorial sneak up on. The way I see it, it's not easy to usually get a backstab on him. Now here's the guy that you really want to backstab. And usually if you backstab someone, you get a crit hit, and it just destroys their education. You don't necessarily need to be sneaky to get off a backstab, you just need to get behind the enemies, though it's generally easier to get around them if you backstab them from behind. Now, as you can see, this guy's probably going to attack me. He's going to attack me. Come on, are you going to move in? Are you going to hit me with that snorts, or am I going to have to... See, not that points. Stakes of America. These usually, if you see one of these, usually there's going to be a fairly hard enemy, generally a boss. Now is our first tutorial boss. This guy is a bit of a meme within the community. People call him Rick. Soldier of God. He is not to be messed with. Soldier of God, Rick. Now, these guys are just regular enemies at those points, but this guy has a bit of a... As you can see, guard counter demonstrated correctly. And down he goes. He's dead, and we are good. And you see, 4,000 runes due to this extra mod, okay? So yeah, we're at 5,000 runes already, thanks to the trainer. I know. This is a lot more than usually, but my main reason for having this is just to accelerate our progression a bit, so that I'm not having to just grind. This is mainly for grinding purposes, because off screen there's going to be a lot of things. Many vulgar militiamen will die. Many boulders will fall off of Len's Rise, and there are going to be a lot of dead Albinorgs, and dead horrors that resemble birds. I hear you too, Snowy and Thunderbutter. That's my pet birds. They're my sweet budgies. I love them very much. So as you can see, going through here, standard points. Now that we've taken things, we have taken care of those basic points. We are going to go move forward outside to the site of grace. And we are going up to leave behind the crypt for now. We'll be coming back here later, like I said, for the French folk graves, but again, we're not at a point where I would say that we're strong enough to do it. There are some methods to do it, but right now we're carrying a good amount of runes, and I don't want to be carrying huge amounts of runes when I go into areas that are liable to result in me dying horribly. It's generally advisable to do that because otherwise you're just going to lose runes. Now, let's open things up, and here we are in Lingrave. There you can see the Erd Tree and Stormville Castle. And if you look real closely, you can see the Chapel of Anticipation, where we started, up here in the distance, right above where my character's helmet is. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. We got moved a very far away while we were technically gone. Now, grab the first side of grace, and here we have White Mask Vare. He is, let's just say, not necessarily the nicest guy, but he is fairly interesting than anything else. My advice is, though, there are plenty of people that will try and fight him for calling you meatless. Don't do that. For a couple of reasons. The first being, he will kick your ass, straight up, right out the gate. He is not an enemy to be messed with. And secondly, if you deal with his quest, which is going to be very interestingly dealt with to figure out how I'm going to deal with this. Well, it will allow you to enter the Mogwin's Palace, which is basically gives you access to one of the best farming locations in the game. And it it is extremely good, but that's where Var plays. First now, let's talk to him.
Oh, yes. Tarnished, are we?
Indeed I am.
Come to the lands between for the Elden Ring? Of course you have. No shame in it. Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the Round Table Hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
Yeah, that maidenless thing wouldn't happen to be your doing. I seriously think he's responsible for that. I mean, seriously, how else does he know that we're maidenless? We literally just met the guy. And look at that guy. Look at that grin. You really can't trust someone with that kind of a grin. I know he's wearing a mask, but let me be honest. He's smirky underneath that.
Luckily for you, however, there is one shining ray of hope for even the maidenless. Me. Vare. Take care to listen. Are you familiar with grace? The golden light that gives life to you tarnished. You may also behold its golden rays, pointing in a particular direction at times. That is the guidance of grace, a path that a tarnished must travel. Indeed. Grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you tarnished to the path you are meant to follow, even if it leads you to your grave. Grace's guidance will reveal the path forward, most certainly, to Castle Stormvale, over on the cliff, the home of the decrepit demigod, Godric the Grafted.
Yeah. So you can see here, there is this little light. This is what he's referring to right here. It comes from the side of grace. We're not going to be following that because right now, he's lying. If you try and storm Stormvale Castle right now, you will die. It is not an easy place to even consider it. We're nowhere near capable I'm nowhere near capable at the moment of dealing with that. Also, avoid that guy like the plague. Over there like the plague. He is the Tree Sentinel, and he is the first real boss of the game. And his general purpose is to just kick your butt. He's there to teach you an important lesson, and that is certain enemies you should avoid and come back to fight when you're much stronger. Now, you hear all those sheep being a bit annoying. We'll just move things here. We're going to head here over to the Church of Ella right here, for good reason. Gonna collect this Site of Grace, and then, as you can see, there's a Site of Grace right here, and like that. And then we're going to talk. I'm gonna collect that smithing stone over here. You can use these to upgrade weapons, as you can see. You're gonna collect these a lot, okay? Later on, usually smithing stones are a much harder resource in the base game. However, with Dog's Overhaul, all you need to do is collect the smithing bell bearings, and then you could have pretty much an infinite supply of all the smithing stone types in the game. That said, collecting all those bell bearings is not easy. It is by no means an easy feat. Now, and talk to Callie.
You're a tarnished. I can see it. And I can also see that you're not after my throat.
Never would be.
Then why not purchase a little something? I am Carlo, purveyor of fine goods.
Okay. He has a bit of... Why don't you tell us about yourself, Callie?
I am of a nomadic people, selling wares as I travel. The land has been tainted by madness since the shattering of the Elden Ring. It's only tarnished like yourself, who keep things from drying up entirely. Let's say you're a very welcome customer.
Also, you seem to have a recommendation for purchase.
You know, if you can spare the runes, you should buy yourself a crafting kit. A crafting kit allows you to make basic items on your own. Essential, really, if you intend to survive out here for any duration. The kit costs a bundle, and I admit I do take my cut. But the important thing is that you survive. Every customer counts, after all.
Yeah, and he is correct. This is one of the best items in the game. You can get early on, okay? So, I am going to buy that. I'm also going to buy these cracked pots. They're going to be very helpful. I cannot understate how helpful they're going to be. I'm going to buy his bell bearing. Yeah, this is something that's very interesting thing to note. In Dog's Mod, the merchants and anyone that sells stuff is going to sell a bell bearing. Usually, you'd have to kill an NPC to get these, but not in this mod. There are some other mod overhauls that do this. Convergence does it. Also got here things. Now I'm going to get the telescope, because it's always good to have some scouting, and it's fairly useful. And some throwing knives here. Now, these are some notes about various things. Now, let's see here. Also, going to collect this. Why? Because I want to have access to making bow and arrows and bow bolts. When we get a bow eventually, it's going to be fairly useful. And the rest of these are not merchant.
You took my warning to heart. You've made an excellent choice.
Exactly. Now, we have this crafting kit, and here we can make various different items. Fire pots are going to be one of our mainstays. These are very good for just destroying enemies that you don't really want to deal with. Which is why cracked pots are very important to get your hands on. As soon as you can get your hands on them. Fairly good. Also can make some bow and arrows, which will be useful when we have a bow later on. And I actually know where to get a fairly powerful bow fairly early on, believe it or not. Though, it's going to require a bit of maneuvering. I know where to get a lot of fairly strong items that will really help me up my character move on fairly good. Oh, also, remember, just check and see. Where's that tree sentinel? Can I see him? Yeah, I can see him, but he's nowhere near us. That's good. Again, Don't want to be anywhere near that guy. He is death. So I'm going to do some sneaking. Then we're going to kill some of these Godric soldiers for runes. And also on the offhand chance one of them drops their brass shield or some gear. They're not necessarily the most effective way of farming rooms, but I'll take what we can get. Also make sure that I'm not rusty. Now let's see, what do you have? Haha! Oh, this is great, actually. Lord Sword Straight Sword and the V-Circa. These are actually fairly good items. Now, let me see on this tab bonus. This actually has a bit more sim negation, and it's about the same size. Okay, but it's not necessarily the best protection. So it's not necessarily, it'd be a downgrade of what we're currently wearing. Now, we have the long sword, but we have the Lord Sword Straight Sword. This is actually an upgrade over the long sword. These are a well-crafted straight sword with an illustrious design, wielded by the regulars of Laura's army. Though blackened and damaged by years of use, it appears to be otherwise kept in serviceable condition, despite the soldiers having long ago lost their minds. This is a fairly good sword, and so I'm glad we picked this up. It's fairly good. It has a bit more damage than our starting sword, so it's a good weapon to have. Also, it looks pretty cool. Now, I'm going to have to do some more stealth killing and see if we can get lucky again. I kill these guys out of habit at the start of every playthrough, and generally whenever I pass through this region. Mainly because it keeps my stealth skills refreshed, and because it's just satisfying to sneak up behind these guys and, you know, get rid of them. Because these guys are actually insane. That's the reason why they'll just attack on sight. The soldiers, by and large, are people that have gone insane due to the shattering, as the sword's description stated. So, generally, by and large, you want to avoid them. Anyway, let's see here. Okay, this guy's going to be harder to sneak up on than normal. I'm going to avoid him for the moment, and I'm going to sneak up on this guy over by the campfire. Runes, more levels, and another backstab. Now, what did you drop me? Hey, smithing stone. These are pretty good. That's always good. Get my hands on a few of these early game, we can actually upgrade some weaponry. Okay. Anyone left alive? No, I have killed all of them. Good. Now, before we go to our next destination, I want to stop over here at this cave over here real quick. And the reason is I want to collect the side of the race. We'll be coming back here in a bit. Probably in the next couple episodes. Again, after I collect all these various things that we want, I'm going to want to relegate. Anyway, see. Fairly good. See? Not too hard. Now, we are going to head we're going to keep ourselves here. And here is the Gatefront Ruins. Pretty good. This is a pretty interesting. It's an early location. Probably one of the first things you'll run into. It's also pretty hard. Also one of the other points and points. This is one of those things where you are wanting to be stealthy. Also, see that guy over there with the big spear and the shield? He is not to be messed with. He will really wreck you if you try and take him right out of the gate. Unless you are really good at skill at blocking and at dodging or any number of points. Now, this guy has to die because I want to grab what's right behind him in Godric Soldier Gauntlets. And as you can see here, because I want this. Lord Sworn's Greatsword is one of the best weapons early game. Right now, we will be able to carry this without putting ourselves in heavy load. I might swap out my halberd for it. As you can see, it does give us a bit of a damage groups. I think I will do that. The moment I won't be able to use this, well, with one hand, but you can two-hand these things, and it gives you a strength bonus, and increases also damage, so fairly good. It's a good weapon, nice solid weapon. If you upgrade this, it's fairly good for a lot of things, and it is an underrated gem. In fact, it can carry you through the whole game if you wanted to. That's how good of a weapon it is. Now, lost site of grace discovered, and now I'm going to rest here for good reason. And that's why.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord.
Of course you do.
Have you heard of the Finger Maidens?
Yes, Mari told me
They
I
serve
don't have one.
the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the Tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless.
Thank you, Mari, for that.
I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring. You need only take me with you to the foot of the Erd Tree.
I will
Then
gladly
it's
do that.
settled. Summon me by grace to turn runes into strength. Ah, another matter. I bequeath to you this ring. Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
And we have our mount. This is very important. Yeah. Also, we can now level up, so I can use these
Shall
runes
I
I'm
turn
saying
your
on.
runes to strength? Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment, share them with me.
As
Your
you can see,
thoughts,
fairly good
your
early on.
ambitions,
I'm going to want to put
the
some points into
principles you would
intelligence.
follow.
Get us to about 15. The reason for this is to allow us access to important things. Also, I'm going to put a point into faith. These are going to actually be some important things. Now, honestly, I should put some points into endurance, but that's not too much of an issue. We'll just kill a few more soldiers. I can do that really quickly. And now, I have Torrent. Now, some people have their own places of which they put Torrent. I personally put him here in this slot. I just cannot be bothered to use the pouch thing for Torrent. It's just one of those things that's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. Now watch this. There. And now we are going to head back to the Church of Ella. Oh, these guys have respawned. Oh, and also, you want to fight? Guard counter. Get impaled. Also, thank you for the runes. And actually, now we'll probably, if I kill these guys again, I'll have enough for bigger. So, yeah, watch this. Don't want to be that guy. Backstabbing is such a satisfying thing when you get it off. It is patience that rewards you. Again, no need to rush into fights when you can easily win them by doing stuff like this. You can see him fall. He's gone. Now there should be another... Going to bypass you. And you, we're just going to sneak behind and give you a bit of a stabby stab, and down you go. And one more, for good measure. This guy's not going to know what hits him. And stab. It's really satisfying. But it's even more satisfying if on higher level enemies. These guys are a bit more interesting. Are a bit of a pushovers. Try doing that to Vanished Knights when you have a very high level weapon and 50 points. It's satisfying to get your hands on those guys. To backstab those guys. Simply because they are a pain in the butt to deal with otherwise. And... excuse me. Okay, I'm just going to talk to Melina real quick.
This tiny golden aura is the grace of the Erd Tree. This light once shone in the eyes of your tarnished brethren, but now it is all that guides you. Or so I hear. You can see them, can't you? The rays of grace that guide you through your burden. Upon the cliff in Castle Stormvale is a shard-bearer, a demigod, who inherited a fragment of the shattered Elden Ring. If the rays of grace signal the castle, then the Elden Ring beckons you. As an ally by pact, I pray that you are fit to face the challenge presented by the ring.
Now, also, I have this very interesting thing. Here's the Elden Transmogrify, which will allow me to alter my armor gear. So, for example, I want to, say, wear this. Voila, transmogged into that. But yeah, look, you have pretty much a transmog for any item armor in the game. Some of my favorite sets are here. And it looks pretty cool. These champion set is just epic. I love this thing. But right now I'm going to spell transmute mogs because right now I don't really feel like doing that there at the moment. And honestly, oh yeah, I'm going to level 1. Want those figure points. So that I can actually carry my armor without it moving like a brick. Also, I'm going to pass time until nightfall. I know it's already night, but I'm just doing this to make sure that, yeah. Strange. Is she not spawning? Unusual. Maybe if I collect a few more sites of grace. What I'm trying to do is to meet up with Ronnie. She will make her first appearance, and she will give us a little something that will make our lives significantly easier. Now, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to run past these guys real quick. Hello, your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries. Bye, and I am going in here because I want this. The whetstone knife and basic ash boars. This will be pretty useful later on. Now, ride upwards, and then I'm going to run out of the camp, rush for that side of grace to make sure that that guy who's right behind me stops chasing me, because I don't want to fight him. Is he following me? No, he's not. Thank goodness. That guy's not to be messed with. I mean that quite seriously. I mean, just for demonstration purposes here. Watch. See? See, this guy has poise for days. And now I'm going to run away. Because no sense dying over this guy. Also gonna grab a couple more items. Over here we have access to another nice thing. Don't want you to be looking my way. I'm gonna wait for this guy to go past. By. Then I'm gonna sneak up on the guy with the spear. Then spear and the great shield. Maybe if I'm lucky he'll drop one of those two, because that's actually a fairly good weapon and a fairly good shield. And again, neither. It's a low percent that they drop anything at all. And we have the flail. Fairly good weapon. It's going to be fairly useful. And hello. Guard counter and berry and get crit out of existence. Yeah, iframes. And also, he tried to hit me, but when you're doing certain kill animations, you'll get what are called iframes, which basically make you invincible, meaning enemies can't actually hurt you at all while you're doing those actions. So let's swap over to the greatsword. Just for points. Oh, what am I doing? I don't want to be anywhere near that bridge at night, for good reason. There is a nasty guy. Now, there is a Knight's Cab over there, and he will just destroy us. And Stormgate, we're gonna run. Move quick! Ride short, ride fast. That way we don't get hit by the troll. Go through here. Smack this guy upside the back because... I was hoping he might have dropped that brass shield, but no such luck. Move here, get up here there, and grab ourselves a golden seed. This will increase the health flasks, which will just make us heal faster. More. Or rather, more. And as you can see here, there's a... points. Where are you? I was trying to... You see, I'm trying to look for a set of chairs. There's a thing over here that if you collect it, you get some stupid stones. But generally, I'm just doing this to avoid a pack of wolves that are going to spawn. We're heading towards Stormvale Shack, and I appear to have completely gotten fried by it, and there it is. Talk to a little bit of someone special while we're here. But it's mainly quick to just get that side of grace here. There's a bit of a stone sword key. And this is Roderica. I will be talking to her momentarily. I just need to let you know she's here. She'll be very important later on. Oh, also, there's a couple of kind of cell swords right here. Now, I am considerate that you can probably beat these guys, honestly, by bringing up the shield. When it comes to Kaiden cell swords, you don't take chances. These guys will mess up your day. And They have fairly good voice. See what I mean? See? Higher rune yield, they're fairly tough. And this one isn't even looking my way. Well, if that's the case, I'm gonna just sneak up and backstab it. Haha! Nice big damage. Yep. Ugh. See, those kind sell swords pack a wall. This is why you don't underestimate them. Just casually kill some random. Okay. Now, I'm going to rest here to use this. Preschool seeds. Also, I'm going to talk to Melina.
Me? I'm searching for my purpose, given to me by my mother inside the Earth Tree, long ago, for the reason that I yet live, burned and bodiless. There is something for which I must apologize. I've acted the Finger Maiden, yet can offer no guidance. I am no maiden. My purpose was long ago lost.
Yeah.
Shall I turn your runes to strength?
Yes.
Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment, share
Okay.
them with me.
Bit more
Your
vigor.
thoughts, your ambitions,
There.
the principles you would follow.
Let's see here. Let's check here. Am I in medium load? No, I'm still in heavy load. Eventually we'll get there.
Not seen you before.
Hello.
Name's Bernard. Tarnished, just like you. Let me ask you something. Are you here in the lands between to take up the fight? Does
Yep.
your faith in the guidance of grace hold firm?
Yes, it
Despite
does.
the collapse of the Golden Order?
Yes, it does.
Yes, you're a Tarnished through and through. Takes me back. But that's a quality needed now more than ever. Any interest in bearing the torch of my battle arts?
Indeed.
All I know is the sword. Picked up a fair few tricks in my time, too. Now's the time to pass them on. To a good and proper Tarnished, like you.
Yep. Now he sells Ashes of War. And I want this one specifically to put on my shield. This will be very important for later.
There's a myriad of battle arts in these lands that I've yet to discover. Mementos of all the warriors who raised their arms in battle. Lost and died. A fine tale, all told of true chivalric romance. That's how I fell in love with the sword. And the arts of combat. It grants meaning even to falling in battle. To death itself.
Thank you.
Well, until we meet again.
Indeed. Now, I'm going to take rest here at the site of grace. And we are going to now... I have these things. Oh, I forgot to grab something over here at Cave Front. Need to collect it real quick. That is the map of this region. Look at Ronnie. I really love this UI mod. Whoops. Where's the class? Not gonna matter too much. Since we're not staying here long term. Force of habit. I will be grabbing... I'm just going to grab these fireflies real quick. Take that. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled elderberries. I love mounted combat. And, oh, hello, bats. Nope, cannot be bothered with you. Also, sometimes you have these mount effects where at night you'll get interesting things. Notice right there, you get a slight boon increase for whatever reason at certain times at nightfall. Not all the time, but as you can see a little glow around us, that means we're getting more rounds. Now, watch this! See, a bit more runes than normal. Though I think he might have just given me the same, I'm not sure. Sometimes that buff works, sometimes it doesn't. And why have you not spawned? I swear, she's never been this obstinate before when it comes to spawning. And that really annoys me. Because I really, really, really want the item she has. I guess I need to collect a few more sides of grace and maybe she'll show up. I don't know what it determines her trigger. All I'm saying is that I really need what she has. In fact, what am I doing? That's a bit dangerous of where I'm going. Yeah. Well, I guess I can just do something that I would usually do anyway. And that is, we're going to head over here to Dragon Ash Ruins for a little bit of a specific thing. Now there are a couple of rats here. There. Honestly, I don't know. I don't think I should do what I would like to do. I really want my wolves. Because I'm... That dragon is... They're talking about Agil, who's a dragon that lives here. Don't mess with him. He's a pretty formidable enemy. He is not to be trifled with. He's actually harder to fight than the Tree Sentinel. Dragons in this game are pretty annoying to fight. Because, you know, flying. If you play Skyrim, you know how flying dragons can be absolutely annoying to deal with. The ones in Elden Ring function a whole lot the same. Also, where's Tree Sentinel? Okay, he's a good way away. I don't want to go near him. Okay. I'm going to head down to the beach. Which is not going to be... Okay, there's a troll over here. Let's get around him. Trolls are not to be messed with. They give a sizable amount of runes, but they will mess you up if you don't. If you try to fight them at this stage of the game. Luckily, he did not see me. Go, Eagles! Fly! 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 Come on, Eagles! Yeah! Ugh. Points towards the beach. Lousy scarab. Going right over here to this campsite, because there's this guidance sword over here. And he's probably the easiest guy to farm for the guidance set, which is a fairly cool looking set of armor, though it's not much. My main reason for coming over here was just to get rid of him and grab those butterflies. Those are going to be useful items. These are going to be the guys that I farm for these items. Not going to hurt eagles. Because A, those are light-haired eagles, meaning that they're bald eagles. And as a true-blooded American, I'd never harm a bald eagle. And secondly, well, as a bird lover myself, I don't like killing birds in general in video games. I used to have a lot less issues with it, but now that as a pet owner, my position has changed quite a bit. Let's take points here. Oh, look, some demi-humans. Drop string. See, demi-humans are not to be understated. Also, there's this cave here. I'll come back here in a bit. But, for the moment, going to collect this Site of Grace. To come back here later. There's also a merchant over here.
What do you need? I don't want any trouble.
I'm not going to give you any. I just want to see what you have for sale. You have some things for sale. I will definitely take the Armorer's Cookbook, fire arrows, and these neutralizing balls. They're going to be fairly useful.
Well, be on your way then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. One more thing.
You again. I don't want any...
I'm not going to give you any trouble. I just want this. Thank you.
All done?
You're welcome. Come again. Okay. Now that I've collected the items, this from down here, there's one more thing I want to collect. And that is over here. And that is a little something that's going to make things a bit easier for the conceivable future. That is die skeletons and stay dead. Hello. Okay, that's not fair. Why are you bashing me with a crossbow? The crossbow is not a melee weapon. And stay dead. Just sworn he's around here. There he is. No idea whether that's a tree. What I'm looking for is this guy who wanders the beach. He drops the gravitas Ash of War, and that is a pretty good Ash of War early game, and it's really useful for a number of things. But as it seems, I can't find him at the moment. I guess I'll come back here later.
This way, Tarnished.
There!
May
Now
I
you
have
finally
a
spawned.
word?
Yes. You may,
Pleasure to
Rami.
meet thee, Tarnished.
I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk I surmise is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent.
Yes.
As I had hoped, I was entrusted this for thee by Torrent's former master.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Tis a bell
That's
of
why I
calling
wanted.
forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly. As they recall battles past, now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest.
Thank you. These are very important that she's just given me. That is our spirit bell.
Forgive mine intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the two fingers?
Farewell, Ronnie. We will meet again. A lot.
Wait, weren't you... Well, you're back. Care to buy something?
You think you have to say,
There
Kale?
are others of my people who yet survive in these lands. If the mood takes you and you meet one, then offer them some trade, won't you?
I
My
will.
people, wanderers all have long been spurned by the grace of gold, which is why we cannot settle, but instead are forced into this pitiful, unceasing journey. But thanks to that, things are not so different for us now, though the Elden Ring is shattered. I think this makes us kindred spirits of sorts. Your people, the Tarnished, and mine. Goodbye for now.
Yep. Kale is one of the nicest characters in this game. Good guy. He's a bit of a merchant. He does have... admit he takes his cut, but he's honest to the fault. Always a good place to buy arrows and stuff too, as well. Always the guy to come to when you're low on ammunition. Now that I've dealt with that thing, now let's see if we can, about the going there. Oh, also, now that I have my wolves, I can do a little bit of some fairly good things. We can now actually do what I wanted to and intend. I need these guys for a specific reason. There is going to be this ruin that we're going to be going to, where I just need them as a distraction so I can get the item that's in there. Because it's got some pretty nasty enemies. There are methods of clearing them that you can generally do if you're very tactical about it. My strat is to just run in there and grab it. Don't mind me. Now, watch this. Also, the rats have respawned. Allow me to demonstrate what these guys can do. Okay. No, don't do that. Help me with the rats. There. Now it's so much easier before we even fight. And down they go. And now, we have a treasure chest. But wait! It's a trap! Yeah. Now we're being transported. We are no longer in Lingrave. Welcome to the Cell Crystal Tunnel. And welcome to Caelid, otherwise known as Hell. Everyone hates this place, so I'm just going to do some stealthy stuff. We do not want to antagonize these guys. They will kill us really quickly. They'll be really quickly. You do not want to mess with these guys. Now, what we're going to do is going to be grabbing some items, and we're going to get these items by simply running about. Grab that here. Not going to grab that. It's not important. It's for multiplayer, and as I play offline, and mainly because I play with mods, you can't use mods while you're on multiplayer. Unless you use the Seamless Co-op mod. But that's to your own wants if you want to. I personally don't, because I have very few friends. Okay. Oh, also, I need to rest here at the Site of Grace, for very good reason. Because of that trap. Now, we're getting out of here, and we're going into the swamp. I'm going to collect some items that are going to be very useful to hold on to and get later on. This is why, and now you can see why I wanted Torrent for this. Okay, avoid that guy like the plague. This place is deadly. Welcome to the Aeonian Marshes. Also, don't run into that stuff, it will kill you very quickly. Or slowly and painfully. And running by these, running by these, running by these guys. I'll be taking that points. I'll be taking that. And I am going to run by points, dodge you, and you're going to home. Yeah. Like I said, this is a pretty dangerous place, but a lot of enemies you can just run by them. And in this case, okay, now we're heading for the Street of Stage of Ruins to grab some items. Though this is not what I'm needing this stone sword, the wolves for at the moment. I want this. It's the Rock Sling spell. One of the best spells in the game, even more so in this mod, because it is back to its degree. It used to be fairly nerfed by FromSoft, but now in this mod that nerf has been reverted, and it's way more better than it was before. Now I want this traveling computer set. It's pretty good. And on the occasion that I do want to do some light load stuff. And now, some people will generally go in here to fight the whatever's in there, but you can just grab this from the outside. No issue. And that is also a big thing, the meteorite staff. This is an item I really love, and it's gonna be a mainstay. Don't mind these guys. Now, there are a couple of things we're going to go to. There is a ruin that we want to go here, which are the Caelid Waypoint ruins, and there are going to be two things that I want to get my hands on. They're down here. They're in these ruins, okay? As you can see, they're right here. Now, those are called Kindred of Rots. Major Slack refers to them as Death Roaches, and that name is apt earned. You don't want to fight them. Fighting these guys is like fighting a brick. Like fighting an absolute pain train. And I appear to have gone the wrong direction. Oh! And he got me. Don't. Where in the world is it? I'm looking for the entrance to the ruin. I'm trying to remember. I think it's... I'm not sure. I will be taking that, though. I hate these guys. Oh, there it is. There's the entrance I'm looking for. Yeah. Now we're going in here, and now I'm going to release the wolves as a distraction, and I am going to run. Run it. Book it for this door. And... okay, that did not go remotely the way I intended it to. Don't worry, there's a steak America nearby. This time, now that the door's open, I can actually just rush in there and grab what I want. Okay. At least, for benefit, I know what I'm doing this time. I hate you, could you rot, die. I hate these guys. Yike. And not because these guys are fast to deal with. Hey. Wolves. And I'm going to run. I want that. I will take this. And give me what I came here for. There we go. The meteoric blade, I am out of here. And we are going. Wolves are doing the distraction. We are getting out of here. Dork. Let's get. We're getting out of here. I'm out of here. Like I said, Kayla just helped. But the important part is, we have got what I came here for, and that is this. The meteoric ore blade. Now, I don't necessarily have the stats to wield it just quite yet, but we can get some runes fairly quickly that make that happen. Oh, it's a mad pumpkin head. Don't bug those guys. Bitty pitty guys. These guys are just trapped. Used to be gladiators, but they had the misfortune of having these pesky helmets stuck on them that are designed to cause misery and suffering. And now they just see the sweet release of death to get out of the of their prisons that had been crafted for them. Now that we've dodged these guys, we're going to be heading towards that building over there. That is the Cathedral Dragon Communion, and it's going to be fairly important. Oh, also, that is the Xixes, dangerous dragon. Don't fight him. It will be deadly, and you'll have to... and if you do decide to fight him, well, good luck. You're either extremely high level or extremely bold. Either of which, he's not fun to fight, because he breathes the rot breath, which inflicts what's called scarlet rot, and that is just death if you get hit by it. But here we have what I wanted to get to. Now I'm getting off torrent. Aha! Ancient Dragon Apostles Code Book. And here we have the Church of the Dragon Communion. It's a very special place. You can get some very specific spells. In fact, let me show you some of the stuff that's on offer. Dragonfire, extremely good spell. Incantation. Glintstone Breath, Rot Breath, just skew Scarlet Rot Breath. Very brutal, very effective. Dragon Ice, you see here. Dragon Claw, oh good. I love this spell. It's fairly satisfying. I used it recently with my current ongoing breakthrough and on the line playthrough, and it's just fun. And Dragon Maw, perfectly good for focusing big bosses. They do have some fairly high Faith and Arcane requirement, and they scale off of Faith and Arcane, but they are some of the best spells in the game, and so getting the access to them is going to be quite important. Hi, Melina.
Forgive me. I've been testing you to determine if the Elden Ring would truly have you, if you had the mettle to endure this long and arduous path. It seems my worries were unfounded. Torrent had your measure from the very start, whereas I merely pretended. There is but one other thing I can do to offer you guidance. I can take you to the Round Table Hold, gathering place of tarnished champions, guided by grace.
I'm not going to go there quite yet.
Shall I turn your runes to strength? Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment.
There are a few more
Share
gimmies in
them with
Caelin
me.
that I would like to grab.
Your thoughts, your ambitions, the principles you would follow.
Also put some points in Dex. Want to get us up to the stat requirements. Oh, and watch out for that guy over there. Ooh, yeah. This is a very good sword. All I need now is the into-fight requirements to use it, and it will be a mainstay weapon early game. It's going to be one of my favorite weapons to use for a main hand weapon. You really can't go wrong with this. Also, gives a bonus to gravity sorceries, and gravity sorceries include this little guy that I picked up. Where are you spells? Here we are, Rock Sling. Again, we want to get to Intelligence 18, that is the goal. I want to get us to Intelligence 18. Because otherwise, we're in for pain. Oh, and run! Run, 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 run. Giant horrifying monster that vaguely resembles a bird that wants to kill us. I'm out. Man, these things are fast. See, this is why I hate Caelin. Everything around here is determined to kill you. And the crazy thing is, this is right next to the starting area of Lingrave, okay? This is right next to your starting area. And I am out of here. That's artillery. About to rain down death and fire on me. Also, while we're here, heading towards that, there's a merchant over here I'd like to stop by. Still in combat with stuff that wants to kill me? Why in the world am I still in combat with stuff that wants to kill me? Well, I can correct that real quick, just by doing this. And this. There, no longer in combat. Now, I want to collect this. That is the map for this region. Whenever you see those little beacons on the map, that generally means that's where you're going to find the fragment for the map. And there's the merchant I want to talk to as well, so good. It is good to see these here. But first, things first, collect the map. Right over this beacon to clear it. I said clear the beacon. There. Don't want to leave those around, otherwise you're just going to get randomly pulled in different directions that I don't want to be.
Buying or selling?
First I'm going to sell these runes. Need more money. There he has it. You see, he has this great helmet, and I want to get this because this is a fairly good early helmet. And it will offer a bit more protection than our current helmet. Also, it just looks snazzy. And rule of cool is always entry points. I'm going to avoid you. And there is a points. Also, there's Redmane Castle. We're gonna get back here way later. Let's just say it's one of the coolest places in the game, and it's home to points. Oh, also, I know how to get some quick runes fairly quickly. Well, not necessarily quickly, but it can do it with fairly low risk. Because these things are going to want to kill me. But if I do this, and if I run real quick, they're going to run right into these guys. So these Redmane soldiers. And I'm just going to avoid them. And I'm going to run over here and hide. And now now the dogs are going to be fighting these Redmane soldiers, and what's going to happen is that they're going to die, and I'm just going to get passive runes. So, watch this. This is just going to be fairly brutal. And at the end of this, somebody's going to... And... this fight can go either way, but in either case, I win. See? First enemy dies, here comes the Rune Guild. And there's a huge Rune Guild, because one of those giant dogs just died. And I think another one just died as well. See, easy runes. And I don't have to do anything. I just have to watch the Redmane soldiers do the work for me. And whichever one... And one of the funny part is, I can just do this again and again. Now, is this the most optimal rune farm in the game? Not really. But it does give a good amount of runes. And it also is the least... one of the rune farms that requires the least effort. You just let the Redmane soldiers do the work for you. And they'll usually win. These guys are not to be messed with. They are the personal soldiers of General Radahn, whose banner you can see right here. And he is one of the strongest, he's probably one of my favorite characters in this whole game. Second favorite character. He is an absolute legend, and these guys he inspires such loyalty that these guys are still fighting for him, even after he's gone insane, okay? They are literally still that loyal, okay? That's how devoted these guys are. He's also probably the most powerful of the demigods. Actually, he is straight up the most powerful of them. And the reason for that is because this is a guy that has mastered gravity magic to an extreme degree. Now, his reason for mastering gravity magic was mainly to spare the life of his poor horse that he just rides around with still, after all these years. Still loves his horse very much. And the other thing is, he literally uses this magic to freeze the stars in place, okay? The stars are frozen in place. And he does this all the while being able to fight people, okay? He is that powerful. If anyone could have gotten to be Elden Lord on their own right, it would be him. But now, I have a nice junction of runes. That means I can get my intellect up. Also, take the Golden Seed Flask Charge use, and also there is a little thing over here that I can grab in Redmane Castle that will require some sneaking. A bit more bigger. And work on the arcane. More discovery chance. Also bust the effect of any status buildups, which are going to be very useful because of the... And now, I can use the Meteorite Katana, but we can also use the Meteorite Staff. And we're going to swap out the Lord Sword's Greatsword for that, and... also... Oh yeah, that reminds me. You need to add the Rock Sling spell. Also, you start with an extra spell slot, more than you would usually with this mod, so yeah. There we go. Rock Sling is going to be our good friend. Oh, and also, I almost forgot, I need to put the Ash of War on my shield. Keep forgetting to do this, but it's important. No skill Ash of War on the shield, for a reason. That being Gravitas. Now, I'm not going to use that. I'll demonstrate this momentarily on some enemies that are actually not going actually worse enough. But I'm gonna just do that. Because the dogs will still attack them again. The Redmanes once again, and I just want the runes. Because I just want to get some runes for that great helmet. Oh, also, while I'm doing this, there is actually a... No, I'm not going to deal with you. In fact, I am literally going to just not be in these guys' sights. They're going to be shooting over at the giant hounds, and I can't blame them. Because those things are terrifying. I mean, have you seen them? Oh, their pyramidite figure fuel. This is why I call my Caelid is called hell. There's actually a meme about the starting map where they're like, okay, what do we put next to the starting area? Oh, literal hell. I mean, look at the red skies. It's like we're in Mordor, of all things. And then you have Redmane Castle that just looms right there, all nice and terrifying right there in the background. Also, there's this deactivated portal. I've never noticed this before. I'm not sure where this goes. I do believe it does go somewhere. Maybe it links to the 4 Valkyries. I'm not sure. All I do know is that these dogs are getting their butts kicked in by the freaking Redmane soldiers, which is good. A few Redmanes may die during this, but like I said, they're in a different degree of quality. First dog down. Yeah. Like I said, this is fairly good for getting runes early on, even if you aren't... Granted, the yield's got to be different if you're depending on your setup, but still, this is a good place early on to just get some nice, easy runes. You don't have to do anything other than just walk up to initiate that fight, and they'll just beat the crap out of each other, and they'll just farm the runes for you. Look at that big yield. Look at that. They'll just take care of everything. Now, I could be using Gold Pickle Foulfoots and the Golden Scarab Medallion, but I don't have many of those. Don't know how to craft. I don't have the crafting book to craft more of those Pickle Foulfoots. And the Gold Scarab Talisman, that's currently out of our reach. I do want to get that soon enough, rather than later. It's right here in Caelid. Actually, let me point out the map. It's over here in this cave, right about there. There's a cave over here. It's an abandoned one, it lets you know. But yeah, just watch these guys duke it out. Just look at the runes. And all of this is completely without having to fight them. I don't think very many people have spotlighted this location, but it is exceptionally good. And you want to know the best part? That since From Software is basically not going to be adding new content, this is going to stay permanently in the game. And this thing has been here, I think, since release. And it's quite satisfying, you know, because I hate those giant dogs. Give me a menace. I like the Redmane soldiers because they look pretty cool, though they are not fun to fight. That said, they are loyal to Radahn as a whole, and honestly, that's respectable. And also, they kill these giant things for points. They're still fighting for their homeland years after things have gone points. Also, if you want to blame anyone for this, it's Mikla's fault. All of this is Mikla's fault. All of it. Yeah, but wait, before I level up, going to go back to the merchant and buy that great helm. Actually, I don't actually need to do that, believe it or not. I can just go to the Round Table Hold and just give these bell bearings to the Twin Maiden husks. Come on. Ready to go.
Very well. Let my hand rest upon you for but a moment.
And here we go. There we go. Round Table Hold. It's a nice place. Very interesting people. I'll talk a bit more with them in a bit, but first off, let us talk to Sir Gideon Ofnir.
Oh, this is a rare occasion. I can't remember the last time a new Tarnished made their way to the Round Table. Very well. As your senior, I bid you welcome. It is safe here. You may let down your guard.
Alright.
Allow me a word of advice, as your senior. You are a mere visitor to the Round Table. Nothing more. A house guest. Yet to earn their keep. Remember your place, newcomer.
Yeah. Basically, he's just telling he's not going to give us too much thought until we've proven ourselves. And to be fair, when you're in his position, someone new shows up, you definitely want them to earn their keep first and foremost. That guy is just hilarious. And I am going to give the Twin Maiden Huss these bellberries. And because I do this, I can then just buy this. Also, I'll take that. And that. And definitely this, because that's actually fairly good. Also, I'm going to want this Memory Stone. And I am going to take the Knight set. Also, did I pick up any golden runes? Because I do need to. No, I did not pick up more runes. Oh, that reminds me. Something I will put in this pouch is the telescope. It's going to be fairly useful for giving us a little bit of scouting ahead. Now I'm going to put on the Knight set. Put on the Great Helm, which gives me a bit more protection. Gonna get a bit more stamina. And we are back in heavy, which is not good. Okay. I'm gonna forego the Great Helm. But the Kiras is gonna stay. Oh, look at it. Nice setup, full plate armor. Always good. Basically, this is what the Vagabond Knight set would look like in its prime. Actually, if it had all of its points. See, nice. You can see here, got a nice, thick plate Kiras covering points. This is the Shimbalds. You have a Gorget right here to protect the neck. Pauldrons, full gauntlets, arc armor rings, and underneath we got a nice layer of chainmail, and also a gambeson, as you can see here. Fairly good protection all around. I just wish the game respected plate armor a bit more. Also, it's not that heavy, believe it or not. It's actually light. Plate armor is actually lighter than combat armor, if you can believe it. But yeah, this is fairly important. Here are some other people. Get to know them in a bit. Now that I have these items, I'm going to probably go back, do points. I think this is a good place to end the video off. So, here, I'll see you have points. Off screen, I'm going to do some more farming to collect more runes. So, yeah, that is where it's points. I have been Jedi Nathan, and this is the first episode. So, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.